welcome back. We are in our third video of how to make cookie dough truffles. We have made the recipe. We have talked about the different styles of heating chocolate up, what chocolates you should use for your dipping and your candy making, what could go wrong with your chocolates and how to correct that. And so now we're actually going to be rolling the balls and showing you the correct way or how we dip our truffles. Okay, so Scarlett is going to be making her balls with a actual cookie dough scoop. This is something you can buy at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, order online, anywhere. We have the smaller one. This is the 1-inch ball scoop. It looks a lot like an ice cream scoop, but this one has a little lever that kind of pops out your cookie dough when you're done. So our cookie dough has been in the refrigerator this one's been in more than an hour. So you want to make sure that when you take it out, you are careful because the batter is going to be so thick, it could actually bend and warp. I've gone through a couple of these scoops just because the cookie dough batter is so hard on them. So Scar is going to be working with that. If you don't have one, not a problem. I'm just using a regular teaspoon and I'm going to fill the whole surface, and that will give me about a 1-inch ball that I'm looking for. So I've already made a couple ahead just to show you. You want it about 1 inch round, and we're going to manipulate it a little bit just to make it into a smooth ball. So this is where you want to make sure you really have clean hands because you're going to be working with the dough. Don't touch your face, don't touch your eyes, nothing while you're working with these. Try to keep everything as cleanly as possible. So Scar, you can go ahead. She's going to scoop out a little bit. It's a little bit hard because we left it in for a little over an hour. Okay, so she's scooping it up, and what I want to show you, you put some in there like she has. She's a good muscle girl. So what I want to do is I want to level it off. So I'm just going to level it off and make sure that the complete inside of my scoop is filled. Now I'm going to pop it out very carefully. Don't try to force it too hard right away because I said this is pretty thick mixture for this little scoop to try to manipulate or try to work with. So once she gets it out, she's going to have a semicircle ball, and we're just going to take our fingers and pinch it, kind of round it to make a complete smooth ball. Put it on our tray, and it's going to be ready for dipping later. So we're going to go ahead and make a couple more. I'm going to use my spoon. So what I wanted to do is just kind of scoop out a good generous amount. And the reason we want these uniformed is not only does it look prettier in your display to have all your truffles kind of the same height, the same consistency, it just makes it a lot easier to work with. We do an inch ball because it's like the perfect size to pop into your mouth. There are some truffles that you can make a little bit bigger, so you bite in half and then you got to hold this sticky thing melting in your fingers. We try to make our candy so that it's able, you can just pop it right in your mouth with one bite.
Kind of like those cookies for astronauts. They're like bite-sized ones so the crumbs don't go all over.
Oh, funny. So were you studying about astronauts in school?
No. I've seen a video where people were trying astronaut food and they had these little sugar cookies.
Yeah.
But they were like white sugar cookies, and they were like cut. It was like a big cookie, but it was like cut in 4. So it was like a bite-sized one, so there wasn't crumbs flying all over.
Oh, so if you're making any treats for astronauts, make sure you do bite-sized so they don't have crumbs all over their spacecraft.
Because it could get into the system.
It could get into the system. It could actually cause a lot of problems. You'll be responsible for them to crash into the moon. Like, we don't want that. Bite-sized for astronauts. Okay, so we're just going to do a couple more here. Did I mention that Brooke is our videographer, Brooke Beiswinger? She's doing an amazing job. If any of this looks bad or inedible, it's not our fault, it's the videographers. So like any complaints can be sent to her. What's your cell phone number? Oh, no, okay. Just making a couple more of these.
It's like an ice cream thing, like if you have double ice creams, you can just stack this on top of the thing and put it over.
yeah, this is a really simple recipe. It's something that's gonna look kind of fancy at the end. So you can impress your family, you can impress your girlfriend or boyfriend. Don't sell them because that's what I do. So stay away from that market. But yeah, they're just a really fun thing to make. Another thing that we want to make sure they're round is after you dip them in chocolate, when you plop them back down, if they're square or misshapen, that chocolate's just gonna kind of go and puddle everywhere. But if they're rounded, it seems to drip down nicely. Are you ready for chocolate?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'll do like one more.
Okay, so I have already melted my chocolate in the double boiler that I showed you last time. Double boiler, it's just something you can buy at any store. Walmart, you can order it online. Any kitchen store is gonna have it. And Scarlett used a glass microwavable mixing cup and she microwaved her chocolate. So I'm gonna put that aside. We'll get our chocolates. Do you have your fork?
No.
Do you want
I
to grab
had
a
a
fork?
spoon.
Grab a fork. So we're using forks. You can get, I actually somewhere have a fancy little dipping device. Here's just right there. And what it is it's on a stick and it's this little round hoop. And so you pick up your truffle with this little round hoop and you can dip your stuff in with it. Forks work just as well. So we're gonna be using forks. Got it stirred up. We already melted it. If it's starting to get kind of thick, go ahead and pop it back in the microwave if you're using microwaved, or we can put, like mine, I can put back into my boiling water. At this point, my water isn't boiling anymore, but it's still hot, so I'm just going to, do you need to microwave yours at all, or are you good?
Mine seems still like it's not as thick.
It's not as thick. Do you
good.
want to put it in for 30 seconds?
Sure.
Okay, Scar's gonna
Should
put
I do
hers,
still half a power?
yes.
Can we shut
Scarlett is going to put hers back into the microwave because it's been a couple minutes before we did the last video. It started to harden already, so she's gonna pop hers back in for 30 seconds on half power. Remember, we're doing half power because we don't want to burn our chocolate.
Because then you can taste it.
Because then you can taste it. If hers comes out and it's getting a little clumpy and it's starting to look kind of icky, we would add a couple more wafers of chocolate and that will solve the problem right away. Mine is very smooth. It's like the perfect consistency. Remember, I'm working with water underneath mine, so I need to be very careful that none of the water comes back up into my bowl. Water and chocolate do not mix because of the oils in the chocolate.
This is good.
Okay, so she's gonna stir hers up a little bit more. Stirring always evens out, always helps make it look a little smoother. So she's good.
I didn't put it in for the full 30 seconds because it was already pretty good. It just needed like a bit. So.
She's a professional, so she knew that it would only need like 20 seconds. So she didn't put it in for the full 30. You guys use your judgment. Okay, so I'm gonna take our 1-inch ball that we've already formed. If it takes you forever to fill a tray of these and they're starting to get really tacky and kind of squishing apart, like they're too warm, you can pop them into the fridge for just a couple minutes to harden up a little bit. I would be careful though how long you leave them in there, because when you take them back out and if you try to dip them right away, your truffle is going to expand and the coating of chocolate that you put onto it is going to crack. So just be careful. Your cookie dough, anytime if you're filling, it can be cool, but just don't have it too cold. How you can fix a cracked truffle, just leave it out for a little bit. You can you can dip it again, so it'll be a double dipped truffle. That works just fine. You can put a dollop of a different colored chocolate on it, a dollop of this chocolate on it, and sorry, my husband's staring at me out the window and it's really distracting me as I'm trying to make this video. Yay. So we're gonna take our cookie dough truffle and we are going to drop it in. What I do is I take my fork and I roll it in there to make sure it's completely covered. I'm gonna pull it out and tap to get excess chocolate off. Once I have it down, I plop it onto the tray, and what I do for my signature is I swirl my fork, and that gives it kind of a cute little twirl on top. So then, because these are cookie dough truffles and I make a bunch of different kinds of truffles, I am going to distinguish them by putting a few chocolate chips on top. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do my cookie dough truffles. Again, you take your ball of chocolate, you plop it in. I'm taking my fork and I'm kind of turning it around in the chocolate so that it is completely covered. Take it out, shake it a little bit, you can tap it on the edge, and then plop it onto my tray. This is a lot of practiced years of making it go in one spot, because sometimes it goes where you don't want it to. It might run into your other truffle. And then we are distinguishing that these are cookie dough again by adding a few of the mini chocolate chips on top. So how's yours, Scarlett? Do you have a different technique that you're doing? No, she's
I
kind of
can't
doing.
really do the swirl, so.
She's doing a dump and plop method, which works just fine. Are you still, when you put it in, do you turn it with your fork? Do you turn it with your fork when you put your cookie dough in there to get it completely covered? Yeah?
I would like let it sink in a bit and then I'd like flip it over.
She lets it sink and then she rolls it around. Okay, so what if you have like a half a bowl of chocolate and you have a whole bunch of truffles still left to dip? When you get it down to the bottom, it makes it a little bit harder to roll it around. So you can definitely add another bag of melting wafers and melt that in the microwave again. It's not going to hurt the chocolate that you had on the bottom. It will all melt consistently. Just make sure that you do it at half power. That is the key to chocolate, is just not overheating it. Chocolate is very...
I almost did a swirl.
Nice. Chocolate is very temperamental. So you have to treat it like it is. Okay, so we're gonna show you kind of what the end result would be. So my truffles have already started to cool. Is this too close or is that pretty good? So this is kind of what you're aiming for. A little round ball. It has a flat bottom on the bottom as where it sits, and we distinguish it with some chocolate chips. Sometimes you get chocolates that look like Jabba the Hutt, and that is okay too. They're perfectly edible. In fact, some people would pick them first because they have more chocolate on it. So yeah, once I'm done dipping these, I would pop it in the fridge for about 10 minutes, and then it won't get any chocolates or sugar swirls on top. They'll be nice. If it does get sugar swirls, it's edible. It's not a big deal. It's completely fine. It's just not gonna look as pretty as it could. So that is how you make cookie dough truffles. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I cannot wait to hear how it went. I want to see pictures. So make sure you send Mrs. Schwartz some pictures and she can forward them on to me.
Mine has thick chocolate.
You have lots of chocolate on yours. Yep. If you have any other questions, maybe I didn't answer some questions, or as you're making these you run into a problem that I didn't address, please give me a call. My number's on the website. You can have Ms. Schwartz send me a message. So just let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer them, and good luck.